So welcome back to my channel. Basically, in this channel, I try to show what I learned, what I do regarding technology, engineering, AI, and robotics. So if you are interested in AI, robotics, and technology, please like this video as well as to subscribe to my channel. And today we will be trying to figure out how we can evaluate the results that we get from a RAG system. To start with, we have to identify why do we use RAG since we have LLMs. Basically, LLMs iterate what they have been trained on. So most LLMs that are trained till now will be dated way back, at least will be dated back to some months. So the current information is not available for them. That's why we use RAG to add information or context to the particular LLM so that it can retrieve the information from those documents and give it back to us. But as LLM is not that great in generating or identifying everything, and it is an generalist models, there is a high chance that LLM could hallucinate and give us wrong answers. This is where RAG evaluation comes in. So basically, the RAG evaluation system becomes really good when there is metrics to evaluate the results from the LLM. Basically, RAG is made up of two kind of system. You can say RAG contains an retrieval system as well as generation system. So the process is like the LLM, or we can retrieve relevant information from the documents or from the knowledge base based on the query that the user gives, and the output is generated based on the retrieved information in that retrieved process. After that, we can evaluate the steps or the measures taken by LLM and the output given by the LLM, so that we know how good the system is. So basically the flow is query, retriever, docs, generator, and the answer. So here there are two steps where we can evaluate the results of an LLM. One is where the retrieval happens, the other one is where the generation happens. So there can be multiple ways to evaluate this RAG. The first thing is to ensure the accuracy of the retrieved systems. The second one is to ensure how the faithful is for the generation. Third one is to identify whether there is a hallucination or not, and we can have trade-off between these measures based on the use purpose. And finally, it all depends on you based on your project, your requirements. The evaluation metrics changes over time. So in the pipeline system, first we have the retrieval system. When you look at the retrieval, there are like couple of measures like recall at K, precision at K, MRR. We will talk about that. In the generation, there are things like faithfulness, relevance, and raw. And at the end, then an end-to-end evaluation can be done using a human or LLM as an agent. So that is how the whole evaluation can happen. But you can decide on which part the evaluation needs to be done. So in the first one, the retrieval evaluation. So basically in the retrieval evaluation, we have like couple of metrics like recall at K, precision at K, MRR, MAP, and NDCG. So basically recall says the total, we will have like out of all the positive documents, like if we have 10 documents, how much of those was retrieved when we asked a query. That's what recall suggests. And precision says if 10 documents are selected, how many of them are accurate. So that's the difference between precision and recall. And there is another measurement related to precision and recall called F1. That's like a harmonic mean of these two. So when you want a trade-off between precision and recall, we will go for F1 score. Then there is MRR. So that basically says that out of all how fast the model can the documents, relevant documents are retrieved. And there is like MAP that basically says how well the documents are ranked based on their relevance. So basically retrieval system has this heuristic method of handling things. Then coming to phase 2, the generation evaluation, this is where things get really non-theoretical, like what we say, it's empathic, not empathy. Like we don't have any theoretical knowledge, we have to ground that answer based on the solution that we get. because there is no particular way of saying it. So first one is like there are few metrics to see how good our results are. First one is like faithfulness. Second one is like answer relevance. Then there is exact match and ROG. So for exact match, we will check a word-to-word matching. For example, we will have a ground truth, and we will check the output from the LLM as well. So if the words match exactly, we will say it's an exact match. And there is like a faithfulness method. So faithfulness basically says that whether the answer stick to the retrieved evidence or is it hallucinating. Like if there is an information that is not available on the system but that is being extracted from somewhere else, that means our LLM is hallucinating. We want our LLM to answer based on the available information on that retrieved document. So that is where faithfulness or groundedness comes in. And there is like relevance. That basically says that the answer given by LLM is relevant to the question I asked. So if I ask him which is the southernmost state in India, it should answer somewhat like Kerala. Why so? It's even though the information and that information should be available in the document as well. So basically, the LLM needs to answer based on the question that has been answered, question that has been passed to the LLM. That is where this relevance comes into the picture. And there is like ROG or blue. These are like old school metrics. They look how many word overlaps are there with the reference answers. For those, we need like what do you say, a ground truth basic data set as well. Then we have end-to-end evaluation. So the end-to-end hybrid metrics basically involves attribution. So we want to trace from where does this LLM got this information. So this information could be retrieved from which document from the RAG. So that traceability needs to be there so that we can evaluate the results given by the LLM. Then there is like human evaluation. The human is like a gold standard. We want LLMs to act like a human. So for that we need real people rating the LLMs. So the stakes are higher. So that is why the human are put in the loop. Then there is an LLM as adjuncts. Imagine OpenAI is giving out the answer and you can use Llama models to evaluate the results given by OpenAI. So even both these models have different architecture and both of these models have their own different biases. So to mitigate the biases made by OpenAI, you can use another LLM, maybe Llama, maybe Mistral, and this could help us to identify the issues that particular model has. So when you say that why this is required, there is a saying like these things could happen due to lot of things. The LLM could hallucinate. There could be a metric misalignment between the user, and there is between there is a whole trade-off between how you choose the metrics. So we don't know which part could go wrong. The LLM side could go wrong. There could be a gap between the retrieval system. There could be a drop in data set. So basically, even though the system sounds really good, it's not that great. So there is always a trade-off between the quality, the cost, and the quantity of documents that we have. So basically, like I said, LLM RAG evaluation is not the final foolproof method. It's basically a trade-off between what your business requirement, what is your need, and there are like many quantitative and qualitative metrics, and there is like the best one out of them all is human in the loop. It still remain essential, and that almost sums up the video. So if you are interested in RAGs, LLMs, and if you want more videos regarding LLMs, RAGs, and in-depth videos on each metrics, let me know. We can dive into those as well as I move on more into these evaluation metrics. So thank you. See you later.